This conference will now be recorded.
So once you have created your AWS account, so log into the AWS account. So when you log into the AWS account, so previously, so this is how your console will be looking like. So first of all, if you want to create a if you want to create a server, so where applications will be deployed, obviously the applications will be deployed in the servers only. But if you want to create a server, for example, what is necessary here to create the server? The first thing here is, so there is an AWS account is there. Inside this account, so for example, if I am having an AWS account, so what I can do, I can create as many number of servers I want. I can create so many different servers that belongs to different organizations and different teams. For example, if I am using this account, Chaithanya Durga Soft account for my organization. If I am using Chaithanya Durga Soft account for my organization, in my organization, I might have multiple teams. I might have multiple teams like development team. I can have dev team. I can have production team, and I can have what I can say testing team. Like that, I will be having multiple teams will be there. So for each team, so if you see here, the development team server should not communicate with the production team server. So these are the different teams. So now what I have to do here to make sure about this, what I am going to do here is, it is very simple. So now what I can do here, so there are some servers that belongs to the development team. Servers are there, okay, and there are some servers that belongs to the production team. So prod servers are there, and if these two servers should not communicate with each other, then what I can do here is I am going to create a boundary, a network boundary I am going to create. So that what is going to happen within my AWS account, within the AWS account, if I create multiple servers also, by default they will not communicate with each other. So what is this network boundary? So this network boundary is called as a VPC. So in a simple manner, if I have to describe about this, this is called as virtual private cloud. Virtual private cloud. Just for time being, so the point which you need to understand here is, just for time being, forget about this virtual. Forget about this virtual. Now, what is meant by a private cloud? Any answers for this? What is meant by a private cloud?
Private cloud is for organization or companies.
Hmm. A private cloud is a type of cloud which is only work, or else that will be allocated for a single company. Okay, it is only allocated for a single company. For example, what I want to say here is, uh, so I have an organization, and for this organization, let us suppose think there is an organization called as CGIT Technologies. So for suppose, for example, Cloud Group IT Technologies is there. Okay, CGIT is the organization. Now inside this organization, what is my requirement? My requirement is pretty simple. I just want to have, what is the thing. So in this organization, what is going to happen, this organization will provide the services. Which type of services? Servers. They will provide the servers and databases and all the things. How they are going to provide? So inside this organization, I am having a AWS account. For this organization, I am having an AWS account. Now what happens here, some of the non-IT companies, any startup companies are there who are not ready to capitalize, or else who are not interested to invest a huge amount of money in the servers. So what they are going to do, for example, there is a startup company, and this company main motto is, for example, it is like a, for example, what I can say, it's a food business company, or else it's a what I can say, like Zomato, or else like Swiggy. There are two different companies are there like this. This is one of the company. Now there is another company is also there. So for this Zomato, what is the opposite company? For example, if you think that there is another company called as Swiggy, just try to understand if there are startup companies are there. So you can rename them also. But anyways, Swiggy is there, and this is another startup company. For the time being, just understand like this. Suppose if you think like this, now these two companies, now whatever the two companies are there, they don't have the investment to invest on the resources like servers and all the things. So now what they will do? they will come to my organization. They will come to my organization requesting the servers, requesting the organization to deploy the servers in the cloud. So now what my organization will do? My organization will accept the request of the two companies, will accept the request of the two companies, and they are going to what they are going to what this organization is going to do. Organization will create a server, but here you can see there is a server, and this server belongs to Zomato. For example, this server belongs to Zomato, and there is one more server we are creating, and this server belongs to Swiggy. Just try for the time being, this server is also belongs to Swiggy. And you need to understand one thing. For example, this organization, people who are working on these two applications, they have created two servers, and one server belongs to again I am repeating, Zomato, and the other server belongs to Swiggy. Now what they are doing here, very simple. Now they are creating these two servers in the same region. You need to understand this point. So if the servers are created in the same region, if you go back to the infrastructure, global infrastructure of AWS, there will be a region, and inside the region, what you will have? You will have the availability zones. So you will have multiple availability zones. For example, the servers are created in the same availability zone. Okay, the servers are created in the same region. First of all, you need to get this point. If at all, if the servers are created in the same region, then there is a chance that two servers will communicate with each other. These two servers will communicate with each other. There is a chance. I am not saying that obviously they are going to communicate with each other, but there is a chance that two servers may be communicating with each other. So to overcome this problem, what we have to do, what I am going to do here is, I am going to create a network boundary. I am going to create a network boundary called as VPC, and here also I am going to create another network boundary. So now this network boundary, what is the main functionality of this VPC? The name itself indicating that virtual private cloud. So this VPC will act as a private cloud for the Zomato organization, and this VPC will be acting as a private cloud for the Swiggy organization. So inside the Swiggy, if they want to deploy some RDSs, if they want to deploy some RDS configuration, so they can deploy. So if they want to deploy the RDS, so inside this VPC only they can deploy the RDS. So which means that databases, they can deploy their own databases. If they want to create some DynamoDB, they can create within this VPC only. Like that within, so the VPC is nothing but the name itself indicating virtual private cloud. It's like a virtual organization. So this VPC belongs to Swiggy, which means that whatever the Swiggy related servers, databases, store, what I can say, not the storages, but yes, EBS volumes can be stored. Like that, we can store n number of things. We can create n number of things, n number of resources inside this VPC. So how can I define this VPC? What is meant by a VPC, and how to define this VPC? So if I have to define the VPC, what can I do here is virtual private cloud. It will provide the security and isolates the resources that belongs to different organizations or different or customers. I can simply define like this. So it is going to differentiate the resources that belongs to the different organization, as well as that belongs to the different customers. So now you need to understand this point. For example, inside the region, so as we are going for the next thing, so here this is the AWS infrastructure. Inside the AWS infrastructure, we are having multiple availability zones. This is US East 1A. Suppose we are going to take the region as US East, so that is North Virginia region. So inside the North Virginia region, we will be having multiple availability zones, as I already said you in the global infrastructure. So this is US East 1, US East 1B, and this is US East 1C. For example, if I am having the regions like this. Now, what you need to understand here is, so this is my, let me do one thing. US hyphen East hyphen 1A. This is one of the availability zone, another availability zone 1B, and this is the third availability zone which I am having 1C. Now this belongs to the region US East 1, that is North Virginia region. Inside this region I am going to create my servers, or else I am going to deploy my any resources. Now here the point what you need to understand here is, the next point which you need to understand here is, for example, this is the global infrastructure. Now inside this region I want to create a server. If I want to create a server, you need to understand the another point is that, for example, if I am creating a server in a single availability zone, if I am creating a server in the single availability zone, now what is going to happen if this availability zone is down? If this availability zone is down, whether the customers are able to access the server. If the availability zone is down, if
No.
then customers can be able to access the server, they cannot access the server. So this is called a single point of failure. So what I need to have, this server should be deployed on the same server should be deployed on the another availability zone. Now if at all, if the servers are deployed on the multiple availability zones, the question is like this, then VPC, whatever the VPC that we are creating, the VPC will be per availability zone or per entire region. So how the VPC will be created, whether the VPC will be created per availability zone or per entire region? Guys,
For
try to
entire
understand this
region.
point.
Per
Exactly,
entire region.
for the entire region. Why? Because inside the VPC only the servers will be created. Now you need to understand this point. Inside the VPC only the servers will be created. If the servers are creating on the multiple availability zones, then the VPC will be created for the entire region. So I am going to create a VPC as I already discussed with you. So I am going to create a Zomato VPC. First of all, we will create this VPC. So this is Zomato VPC hyphen VPC. Let us create this. It's completely your wish, guys. Either you can select London region, or else you can select North Virginia region, or else you can go with the what I can say, you can go with somewhere like the another region is Mumbai region. That completely totally depends upon your wish. So I'm going with the North Virginia region. Why? Because it is having, if any updates are rolled out on AWS, the first region that should be affected is North Virginia region. The updates will be available on the North Virginia region for the first time. Anyways, I will be going to the VPC. Look at that, your VPCs. So I already have so many different types of VPCs. Let me delete this. I don't want this VPC. Okay, done. Create a VPC. Now I am going to create the VPC and more. So hold on, guys. I just forgot. Just give me a second. Sorry, just forgot one thing. Hold on. Actually, in the last class, hold on. I think day before yesterday, not yesterday, day before yesterday. Okay, only a singular cell. Hold on, hold on. Just I forgot to delete this. Unfortunately, money will be there. Sorry for this. But anyways, okay. Sorry. When I go back here, so now I am going to create the VPC. So what is the VPC name? The VPC name is Zomato hyphen VPC, or else you can simply leave like Zomato also. The CIDR which I am going to provide here is, as per the AWS technologies, as per the AWS, you cannot create, you can create a CIDR from /16 onwards. You can create a CIDR from the /16 onwards, but you cannot create the CIDRs /8, all those things. So you have to create from /16, and that should be the private IP addresses should be in the private ranges. What is the private range? 10.1.0.0/16. You can provide this, or else you can provide somewhere like 172 dot, hold on, 172.16.0.0/16. You can provide like this, or else you can provide 192.168.0.0/16 like this. These are the CIDRs which you can provide, and apart from that you cannot provide any another CIDRs. Okay, anyways, coming back to this, so I will go with the 10.1.0.0/16. This is the CIDR which I am going to create for the Zomato VPC. So create the VPC. The VPC is created. Now here in this diagram, what I have done, so the CIDR is 10.1.0.0/16. So which means total number of 65,000 devices can be configured inside this VPC. Inside this VPC, I can create 65,000 devices. And the next thing what I am going to do here is, now inside, so these 65,000 devices cannot be managed at a time. If at all, if there is a network, that's fine, but I cannot manage 65,000 devices at a time. So what I am going to do here is, inside this VPC, I am going to create some subnets. I am going to divide this VPC into subnet. This is the subnet 1. This is the subnet 1. Or else I can make it as Zomato hyphen subnet hyphen 1 with the CIDR 10.1.1.0/24. This is the CIDR of that particular subnet. So that is the reason why I am requesting you to learn the networking concept. So here you can get the clarity why we are using that. Anyways, so this is the first subnet that I am creating, and I am going to create one more subnet. So if how many subnets, that's totally your wish. So total number of subnets, how many subnets you have to create, that totally your wish. Right now I am creating some 3 subnets. I'm creating some 3 subnets. Let me create them. So this is my subnet 2. This is my Zomato hyphen subnet 2 in the availability zone. In the availability zone, US East 1B. Zomato hyphen subnet hyphen 1B, or also subnet 2, and the CIDR is 10.1.2.0/24. Okay. And the next one, what I am going to do, I am going to create a third subnet. I'm going to create a third subnet. Let me create that.
Subnet are basically the servers, right? We will assign to the servers.
How subnets will comes under the server? What is meant by subnet? Can you tell me? Anybody? Please answer the question. What is meant by subnet?
The machine which is it is just group belong to which group it will identify.
Who?
I mean the
Subnet
subnet.
is a small
To divide
portion
the
of your
network.
big network.
Yes, sir.
Subnet is a very small portion of your big network. Here we are having, how in this network, in the Zomato VPC, how many devices we can create? We can create up to 65,000 devices, and it is very difficult to manage. So that is the reason why we are dividing that network into small networks, and that small networks are called as subnets. In the CIDR, in the subnetting concept, I have said you about this subnetting, this subnets. Whenever a very big subnet is given, we can divide that network into small networks. That is what a subnet is about. Do you attended that class?
Yes, I have attended.
Uh,
I'm not
so
able to
what is
relate.
what is this /24? How many devices can be created inside this /24 subnet? Now you must tell me that. Inside the /16, we can create 65,000 devices. Whenever we have given with /24, from this 65,000 devices, we are taking some 256 devices can be configured inside this first subnet. Okay. So subnet is not a server. Subnet, the name itself indicating that subnet. Net means network, subnetwork. For a very big network, we are creating small networks. Those are called as subnets. Okay. Do you understand now?
Yes.
Okay. Now we are about to create the subnets. I want the answers from all other guys. Anyways, so let me create a subnet. In which VPC you want to create? I want to create in the Zomato VPC. Okay, what is the subnet that you want to create? Zomato hyphen subnet hyphen 1. And in which availability zone you want to create? I want to create in the US East 1A availability zone. What is the subnet CIDR? 10.1.1.0/24. As per the diagram, I am providing all the details. Here you can see. If you follow this diagram, you will understand what we are doing. Okay. So create the subnet. The subnet is created. Next thing what I am going to do here is, after creating the subnet, I am going to create another subnet also. Let me create another subnet. In Zomato VPC, I want to create Zomato hyphen subnet hyphen 2 and US East 1B, and the CIDR is 10.1.2.0/24, and create the subnet. Second subnet is created. Now we are going to create the third subnet. That completely totally your wish. You can create only a single subnet also. That completely depends upon your organization perspective and your perspective. So every time we have to create three subnets, no need of creating three subnets. We can create one subnet, two subnets. That depends upon the slash value. How many subnets can be divided? That completely depends on the slash value. You need to be focused on the slash value. Okay, so yes, here you can see we have created the second subnet. Let me create the third subnet. Now I am going to create the third subnet. So the preference is US East 1C, and the subnet name is Zomato hyphen subnet hyphen 3, and the CIDR is 10.1.3.0/24, and create the subnet. So third three subnets are created. Once three subnets are created, okay, done. So now we are creating the places for creating the servers. We are creating the network to create the servers. Okay. So once these subnets are created, that's well and good. Now still we are not creating the servers. And the next thing what you need to create here is, so if the client from outside, the client from the internet has to access your servers, if he want to access your servers, how he can access your servers? That is the question. If the client wants to access your servers, how he can access your servers? Here you are having, and the client is connected to the internet. Okay, that's fine. I'm not talking about anything. It's a simple concept. So try to understand this. For example, if anybody has to enter into your home, or else if anybody has to come out of your home, how they will enter into your home and how they will come out of your home? If there are multiple people are there, or else if at all if your relatives are coming to your home, how they will enter into your home? Or else how the people from your home will go out of your home? Logical? You don't think it is a very logical question? It's a basic question.
Through door.
Anybody, anybody, if
Via
they,
gate.
Through door
yeah,
he can
exactly,
enter.
through the door or gateway. So anybody, if
Yeah.
they want to enter into the home, they have to enter through the gate, or else they have to leave from the exit from the gate. In the same manner, if I am creating, still I am saying if I am creating a server here, try to understand. If I am creating a server inside the subnet, now the data from this server has to come out of the internet, or else it has to reach to the internet, or else the data from the internet has to reach to your server. Then what we have to do? We need to have a entry and exit point, and that is nothing but your gateway. Here we are going to create a gateway, and that is called as an internet gateway, and that is called as internet gateway. Now we are going to create that. Hold on. I'm going to create a internet gateway. So this is my, what I can say, this is my Zomato hyphen IGW. This is the gateway which I am creating. Zomato hyphen IGW. IGW. Zomato hyphen internet gateway. Okay. So what I can do here is I will create the gateway and then I will attach it to my VPC. Just now we have created the gateway. In the same manner here also what you can do here is internet gateways. Create an internet gateway. The internet gateway is Zomato hyphen IGW. Create the internet gateway. Once the internet gateway is created, the following internet gateway now you can attach to the VPC. Okay, so we have the internet gateway. Hold on, it is not. Hold on. Yeah, now we have the internet gateway. Here you can see it is detached. Now what we can do here is, as per the diagram, we just created the internet gateway, and then we are going to connect the internet gateway to our VPC. We are going to attach it. So in the same manner here also, actions attached to VPC. Which VPC I want to attach? I want to attach it to the Zomato VPC. Attach the internet gateway. Now internet gateway attachment is done. Here you need to understand the next point. After attaching the internet gateway to my VPC, now how data will be transmitted? So from the server, we need to provide the route. For example, currently our Indian Railways are modifying the entire train system. They are introducing some new trains called as Vande Bharat trains. Whenever the railway system is introducing some new trains, if they don't provide the route, so from Hyderabad to some Vizag, or else from Hyderabad to Bhubaneswar, from Hyderabad to Secunderabad to Pune, we have different trains are available. If there is no route, whether the trains are capable of reaching to their destination, if route is not there, you are having a train, or else you are having a, you are having a what I can say device, or you are having a vehicle, but you don't have the route. Is it possible to reach to the destination if no route is there? No. So we need to provide the route. So how we can provide the route? Whenever we create a VPC, here the point what you need to understand is, whenever we create a VPC, with the VPC, what is going to happen? A route table will be created. So if you want to know the route table, first copy the VPC ID, select the Zomato. Here you can have the VPC ID. Copy this. Sorry. Copy the VPC ID, go to the route table, paste it over here. So this is the route table which has been created with the VPC. So that is the reason why it is showing us. Is it a main route table? Yes. So what is this route table? In the route table, you will have the route information. So as like whenever you are traveling in a vehicle, in the vehicle you will have the route information. From this time it will start here, and at this particular point it will reach to this destination, and from there it will reach to this destination. You will have the complete route table. In the same manner, in your VPC also, whenever you are creating the VPC, inside the VPC also, you will have the routing table. So this route table will specify the routes. Okay, so what is the destination? So the data from the server, whatever the servers that are there inside the VPC, the data from the VPC has to reach to the internet, or else it has to reach to some another. So that will be specified in this routing table. Now here you can see what is the details, or else what is the routes that you are having. Here you can see the routes. The routes are 10.1.0.0/16. Can you tell me what is the meaning of this 10 dot? What is that? Here you can clearly see that 10.1.0.0/16, which means that which route it is. What is the IP address? The destination is 10.1.0.0/16. The meaning is that within the VPC, you can have n number of subnets and n number of servers. So the servers in this subnet will communicate with the servers in this subnet. So that is the meaning of that particular route. What is the meaning? The meaning is that destination is 10.1.0.0/16, which means within the VPC you can have multiple subnets, but still the data can be transmitted. Between the devices. So you don't need to worry about the communication within the network, within the VPC. Try to understand this point very clear. I am saying that the data communication within the VPC. not with the internet. Within the VPC, you can have multiple servers, but they will communicate with each other by default. You don't need to provide any route. Okay. So the next one here is, now we need to provide the route. Edit route. What is the route that I want to provide? Here it is very understandable. Here you can clearly see that. For example, if I am creating a server, let me create a server. For example, if I am creating a server here, now the data from this server has to reach the internet. If the data from the server has to reach the internet, so through which it will be going out. So how the data from the server will be available to the users who are there in the internet. So how data will be propagated? Anybody? From the server, the data has to go through the internet gateway. From the internet gateway, it will be transmitted to the internet. So here what we need to say, if the data has to send to the internet, if the data has to reach to the internet, then the data must be reached to the internet gateway. That is the route which I have to provide. So do you know the IP address of the internet? Do you have any idea what is the IP address of the internet? Guys, what is the IP address of the internet? Do you know that? At least say yes or no.
0.0.0.0, sir.
Exactly.
Four
So
letters.
the IP address of the internet is 0.0.0.0/0. If you don't know, just say no. Or else if you know, I don't want answers. Yes or no. That's more than enough for me. So if the IP address of the internet is 0.0.0.0/0, actually it is not the IP address. The actual meaning of this is 0.0.0 means default IP address. If you don't know the specific location, destination, then you can simply provide 0000. Okay. So if the data from the server has to reach to the internet, then the data should be forwarded to, what is the target? The target is internet gateway. What is the internet gateway? Zomato-IGW. So with this you can reach to your internet. So this is about your, what I can say, this is about your internet gateway configuration. Done. So and routing table is also provided. So once it is provided, here you can see we have the routing table and everything is done. So now are eligible to create the server? No. So we are not eligible to create the server. We need to create the security groups. What is the security groups? So the point is, whenever you are reaching to a, whenever you are going to a shopping mall, just try to understand this. If at all, if you are going to reach to a shopping mall, you know the entry point and exit point. And when you reach to the shopping mall, or else try to understand, if at all, if you are hopping a flight, so directly you will be entering into the flight, or else first of all, you need to reach to the airport. You know the route, you will reach to the airport. After reaching the airport, so what will happen here? What will be happening here? You will be undergoing with some security checkup. So they will check whether are you eligible to enter into the airport or not. Are you are carrying everything that is required for the hopping the flight? If at all, if you are carrying any unwanted material, they will throw away. Okay. So in the same manner here also, so what should be happen? Which type of data should be entered? What is meant by a security group? The name itself indicating that security group. So this security group will check the data, whether the data whatever entering into your server is a, what I can say, trusted data or untrusted type of data, or else the security group is going to provide certain rules. These rules must be followed. This type of data should be entered into the server. You will come to know about clear cut understanding about the security groups in the upcoming classes. But as of now, here I am going to create a security group. Create a security group. So by default, you will have a security group. For example, when you see here with the VPC, what is going to happen with the VPC? You will have, let me show you. So what are the things that will be created with the VPC? When VPC is created, first one, routing table, default routing table will be created, route table. And the next one is security groups will be created. Default security group will be created and NACL will be created. You will come to know about network ACL and security group in the upcoming classes. But as of now, these are the three things that will be defaultly created. If you don't want, you can create your own security groups and all the things. So I am going to create my own security group. This is my security group and the security group name is test security. Test hyphen security. So I want to allow all traffic. Allow all traffic is the description. So as of now, you cannot provide like this. Okay, in your companies, you cannot provide like this. You have to select the VPC. What is the VPC? Zomato VPC. And add the inbound rule. What is meant by inbound? Inbound means incoming, the traffic that is entering into your servers. So here I can provide all traffic. As of now, I am giving all traffic, but in your companies, don't provide all traffic from anywhere. Okay, so I will tell you about this in detail when we go for the security group, but as of now, go through this concept only. So we are allowing all traffic to enter into our servers. We are allowing any type of traffic, whether it's a secure traffic or unsecure traffic, we are allowing the traffic to enter into our servers from anywhere. From the internet, we are allowing the traffic to enter into our servers. Okay, so here what I can do, name Zomato hyphen security, create the security group. Now once the security group is created, here you can see a security group has been created. Now as per the concept, we have created the VPC. Here you can clearly see this. We created the VPC and we created the subnets, and then to allow the traffic to enter the traffic and to exit the traffic from the internet, we have created the internet gateway. And then the route, we just specify the route to enter the to send the traffic and to receive the traffic from the internet. We just specify the route also. And then we have created the security groups so that which type of security can be entered into the server and which type of security can be outgoing from the server. Everything we have specified. Once it is done, we can create the server now. Is it clear up to now? Up to here, is there any questions? There are any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Now we are going to create a server. But before creating a server, what we need to do here is, I will go to the EC2. Before creating the servers, what we have to do here is, we have to create a key pair. Why we need to create the key pair? Answer. The last class I said you about this. Why we have to create a key pair?
To access the server.
Exactly. So key pairs are helpful for us to access the servers. So here we are going to create a key pair so that we can access our servers. So I am going to create the key pair. And the key pair name is delete later. Actually, I will use the common key pair. AWS common key pair is available for me, so I will use that. But as of now, I will go with the delete later key pair. And the most important thing here is you need to select the PEM file. Of course, what you need to understand here is, of course, your PuTTY will accept to .ppk format. So here you have, it is clearly mentioned that for use with PuTTY. So the PuTTY will accept .ppk format, but still my recommendation is that you need to download the PEM file. Why? Because there are further usages. You will come to know what happens if we download the .pem file. So there is so many so many use cases are there. So download the .pem file. Here the interview question will be like this: among these two files, which files are private key files, .pem and .ppk? Among these two files, which files are the private files, private key files? So what is the answer? If the interviewer asks you among these two files like .pem and .ppk, which file will be the private key file? This is the question. What will be the answer?
The
Both
both
dot .ppk is private.
both
Mhm.
Both
Both
are
are the
private.
private key files. So they will ask you
yes.
to confuse. They will ask you this question to confuse you. So you have to say the answer as Both files are the private key files only. .pem file is used for the wide variety of usages. Actually, it is for the open SSH standard, and .ppk file is for the PuTTY. You have to answer this. Actually, public key file will be with the AWS only. So private key file will be downloaded to the client. So here we have selected here delete later, and the file format is .pem, and here you can give a name tag also. Name is delete later, create a key pair. So here delete later key pair is created. Here you can see a file is downloaded. A file got downloaded into my system. Here you can see delete later.pem file is downloaded. Now this is my private key. This .pem file is my private key, and here you are having this file is your public key. This file is your public key. Now what we can do, now I am going to create the instance. Let me create an instance, launch the instance, and the instance is, let me do one thing, web or else test hyphen server. I will give the name as test hyphen server. I can select the Amazon Linux 2. So these are the operating system images. These are not the operating system ISO files. These are the operating system image files. Try to understand. Now what I can do here is, so whenever I am selecting any operating, you can select Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, but Mac OS, then you have to change the what I can say instance type. So instance type you have to change, but I don't go for the Mac OS. I will go for the Amazon Linux only. Amazon Linux 2, or else you can select the Windows, or else you can go for the Ubuntu. If you select the Windows, my recommendation is that, so T2 Micro will sufficient for Windows operating system also, but I don't recommend you to run the services on T2 Micro. Run your Windows server on T2 Micro. Why? Because here you can see the T2 Micro instance is 1 CPU, 1 GB of RAM. 1 GB of RAM is not sufficient to install the or else to run the Windows servers. So minimum you need to have the T2 medium. Okay, then only you can go for the Windows servers. Right now I will be going with the Linux operating system only. Amazon Linux. I will go with Amazon Linux 2. So when we select the Amazon Linux, the default user for Amazon Linux is EC2-user. This is the default user. If you are going for Ubuntu, the default user will be Ubuntu. Okay. So now what I can do here is, so let me select the operating system Amazon Linux 2, and then what I can do, T2, I will select T2 micro only. Why? Because it's a free tier eligible. Don't select T2 medium. It is a paid version. T2 medium will cost you around 4 rupees per hour. So if you want, you can select, but T2 micro is completely free of cost. You can select this. And the key pair, the public key is delete later key. Okay, mute yourself. The public key is delete later key. And then here we are going to create our server in our Zomato VPC. In the Zomato VPC, I want to create the server. In which subnet you want to create? For example, I want to create in my subnet 1. So I will select the subnet 1. Here you can see auto assign the public IP is disabled. Auto assign public IP is disabled. So which means that the public IP will not be assigned to your server. If it is in disabled state, the public IP will not be assigned to your server. If the public IP is not assigned to your server, is it possible to access the server? If the public IP is not assigned to your server, is it possible to access your server from the internet?
No, no, sir.
No, no, sir.
No, it is not possible. So for that reason, what I have to do, I need to enable this. Every time we don't need to enable from here. If you go to the VPC in the subnets, what we can do here is, so what is the subnet? Zomato subnet 1 is there, right? Select the subnet, actions. Here you can see edit the subnet settings, enable auto assign public IPv4 address. If you select this, automatically IPv4 public IPv4 will be enabled. When I come back here, if I refresh this, or else refresh, let me refresh this. So subnet 1, if I refresh this, why it is still is showing disabled? hold on, it should be enabled, or else simply you can select from here also, you can select enable, but uh, again why I need to, hold on, it has to show enable also, but anyways let me refresh it. The server is
Right.
test hyphen server Amazon Linux 2. Sometimes I am facing these issues, but anyways, T2 micro key pair will be delete later key pair, and here Zomato VPC, and I want to select Zomato subnet 1. There you go. Automatically it is showing you enabled. Okay, select an existing security group, and the security group is test security group. Right now we have created a security group and the group name is test security group. You can select this, and simply what you can do here is launch the instance. So what we have done here you need to clearly understand the point by point. First of all, whenever we are creating a server, what are the pre-requirements? The mandatory things that you need to provide here is, first of all, you should provide the AMI. AMI means Amazon Mission Image. You need to select the operating system. When you select the AMI, operating system will be selected. And the second one is key pair. This is for logging into the server. If at all, if the key pair is not assigned to your server, then you cannot log in into your server. And the next one is instance type. This is very important. Which type of instance, whether you are going for T2 micro or T2 medium, which type of instances that you are selecting. And the next one is in which subnet you are creating, and what is the security group. These five are very important for you to create the server. Okay, done. And the next thing
Sir,
what I am going, sorry,
I have one doubt.
yes,
Hello.
yes,
Actually, we are selecting that public IP, right? So, is it chargeable?
no,
Even though we are selecting that T2 micro instance. So,
public IP is not chargeable. Don't worry about it. Elastic IP is chargeable, but public IP is not chargeable. Don't worry.
and what
Okay.
about VPC?
Sorry. What about
What about VPC?
VPC is not chargeable. VPC is free of cost.
Okay, sir.
I will tell you. Okay. So now we have our server. This is our server which is running. But here you can see public DNS. What is this public DNS? This is the naming resolution of your public IP address. So this public IP in the name format, if you want this in the name format, then what you have to do here is go to the VPC. It is very important to actions, edit VPC settings, enable the DNS hostnames. So here what is meant by DNS hostnames? DNS hostnames attributes determines whether what it is going to determine whether the instances launched in the VPC receive the public DNS hostnames that corresponds to the public IP address. DNS hostnames. So it is going to represent the hostnames of your IP addresses. Okay. So in the naming format, if at all, if you want that should be in the naming format, you can assign the DNS hostnames. Okay, done. So when I enable the DNS hostnames, here you can see right now you don't have the public DNS, right? If I refresh this, look at there, you got the public DNS. So how you got the, when you enable the DNS hostnames, you will get the public DNS. Done. Now copy this public DNS, go to PuTTY. Here comes the main problem. Go to PuTTY. So I am logging with the EC2-user. Why? Because in Amazon Linux, we are having a default user called as EC2-user. So you can use this. Provide the IP address. When you provide the IP address, so if you click on open, the server will not be opened. Why? Because here we have mentioned that the server authentication mechanism is, here you can see that key pair assigned at launch. Whenever we are launching the server, what is the key pair that we have assigned to that? So here you can see delete later key pair. So what is the PEM file? The private key file is delete later.pem file. So this PEM file will be utilized to open the server. But what is the condition here is this PEM file, this PEM extension is not suitable for your PuTTY. So PuTTY will accept only .ppk format. PuTTY will accept only .ppk format, but it is not going to accept the .pem format. So how can I overcome this problem? So to overcome this problem, what we have to do here is go to PuTTYgen. Go to PuTTYgen, load, and what we have to load, we just downloaded a file. That is, what is the file name? The file name is deletelater.pem file. Select this file, open, and here you have to save as private key. Okay, so save as private key. Where you want to save? I just want to save it in my AWS 7 p.m. batch, and the private key file is delete later. Save. Done. So now I have a ppk format file. So here you can see I have a where is this delete later, which type of file it is? It is a ppk file format. Now what I can do, I will go back to my PuTTY. So ec2-user provide the IP address. So this is the IP address, and go to SSH authentication credentials. Now I need to provide the ppk file format, that is delete later file. Select this, open, and click on open. There you go. Now we are able to access the server, but it is in C. It is not able to read. Why? Because it is very small. So what I can do here is change settings, appearance, change it to somewhere like font size to 18. There you go. Sudo su hyphen. When you see here, right now we are in the server. We can provide whatever we want. We can access the server however you want the server to be accessed. So this is about how you can create the VPC and how you can create the servers. So without VPC, you cannot create the servers. Here we have created a server, and the server is test-server. Okay. So this is what we have to do. Okay, finally, first of all, we created the VPC. Inside the VPC, we have created the subnet, and inside the subnet, or else to the VPC, we attach the internet gateway, and later on, we have created a routing table, and then we have created the security groups, and then we just created the server. To create the servers, we selected the AMI, and we have created the key pair, and then we just install the server. And that is how we can create the server and we can access the server. Understood the point? Any questions? Any questions? Did you understood?
Yes, sir. Understood.
Yes, sir.
Anybody? Any
I
another
think so.
questions? Mhm.
I think while practice this, maybe the issue will come. Will ask them.
Okay, it's your wish. Slowly, first of all, try to understand what we are doing. We have to create multiple servers. If I have to create multiple servers, we need to have the multiple environments. So if the servers does not belongs to the same organization, then what we have to do, we have to segregate them with the multiple environments. These environments are called as virtual private clouds. Simply, they will be termed as VPCs. So now we are going to create the VPC. How a VPC can be created, if at all, if a VPC has to be created. Now, first thing what we have, or else, first of all, within the VPC, first of all, we need to provide the CIDR block. So the CIDR blocks will be the private CIDRs, private IP addresses, like 10.10 series, 172 series, or else 192 series. Within these series, you can select any one of the series. And later on, we need to create the subnets. Okay. There are a lot of stuff. See, this is very simple configuration. If you find out this is tricky, then when we are going into the concept, there will be so many different concepts will be there, like VPC peering, VPC NAT gateway, VPC VPN configuration, VPC endpoints. So that is the reason why I have said why I did not made you more confusion. I just gave you a simple diagram. If you follow the diagram, you can easily understand. First of all, what we have done, we just created a VPC with the CIDR, and after that we just divided the VPC into the subnets, and then we have created an internet gateway, and we have created the routing table. So there are 5 main steps. First, VPC creation, subnet creation, internet gateway creation, attachment, route table creation, and managing the route table, and then security groups creation. If we have created these 5 things, then it is very easy for us to create the servers. Okay, it is not, it is worthy to work it out. So as you are having Saturday and Sunday will be the week offs for you. So what you have to do, you need to practice it. So the point here is on the next point. Tomorrow, what we are going to discuss? Tomorrow we are about to
Hello, sir.
discuss about, yes.
I have a question.
Mhm.
If we have like more number of subnets, so we
Mhm.
need to create each step for the subnets, or we have any like automatic method?
Automation is there. So there is a Terraform. There is a tool called as Terraform that will comes under the DevOps, infrastructure
Okay.
development. Okay, we
Okay.
can we can automate the subnet creation with a single code. There is a concept called as cloud formation.
Okay.
Okay, so with that we can automate each and every step. Like that, we
Okay.
don't need to create it again and again.
Okay. So right
So
now, like, if we consider
mhm.
some number of subnets, so we have to create each step for each subnet, right?
Obviously, you have to go to the subnet, create subnet, select the VPC in which availability zone you want to create the subnet, and then you have to provide the CIDR and then name. So these are
Okay.
the 4 steps. Every time
Okay.
you have to do the same if you want to create.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Not only the
Uh,
subnets, if you want to provide the routing table also, there is some sort of differences there. I will tell you in the next class. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
yes, as you
Go on.
said, while creating the VPC, so we have
Mhm.
three things by default we'll create. One is routing table, security group, and NSCL, right?
NACL. Yeah.
So we can customize these three things. We can customize our own.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
completely your wish. Tomorrow I will tell you how to customize that. You can create your own routing table. You can create your own security groups. As I have created the security group right now, test security group I have created. It's a customized one only, right? If you have
and
anything,
what is this? Yeah, what is this cider? I mean, I'm not getting cider.
CIDR, classless interdomain routing. So these are the subnetting concepts. So have you attended the networking classes?
Yes, yes, I'm little confused. I'll just go through some internet
Yeah,
thing.
you
I'll,
can
I'll
go
just
through
see.
that. So that is the reason why again and again I said you that go through the concept of subnetting. Subnetting is very important. These headers are classless interdomain routing. There is no class for this. See here, 10 belongs to which class? 10 belongs to which class? In the IP
A,
address, 10 belongs to class
A,
A. Slash
Yeah.
16 means the subnet belongs to which class?
B,
Slash, yeah, B. IB belongs to class A and the subnet belongs to class B. So that
yeah.
is the reason why we are calling as classless. Classless. We don't have any classes here. So that is the reason why we are considering them as CIDRs, CIDR values, classless interdomain routing values. Okay. CIDR means classless interdomain routing. If you want to go through that, you can go through the internet also. No problem. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Still any questions? Okay, guys. So we'll meet in the next session. In the next session, the point here is what we are going to learn here is today we have gone through a concept called as VPC creation. And what is a VPC? A VPC is a virtual private cloud which will be helping us to make the secure and isolated environment. For example, at a certain point of time, for a certain teams. For example, there is a team called as development team and there is a team called as production team in the same organization, and we have created two different VPCs for them. So at a particular point of time, what happens here? The development team has to communicate with the production team. Here, the concept is like this. The concept is, example, we just created a VPC for the development team. This is the VPC for the development team. And we just created another VPC for the production team. Under certain circumstances, the development team has to communicate with the production team. Okay, when for any server migrations or else for any application migration, for any data transfer, both teams has to communicate. The servers in development team has to communicate with the servers in the production team. So as we have created the VPCs in multiple organizations, or else as we have created the VPCs in the what I can say, multiple multiple teams, between multiple teams multiple VPCs are created. So from the starting words, what I am saying, one VPC will not communicate with the another VPC. But what is my requirement now? The development team VPC has to communicate with the production team VPC. How they will communicate with each other, that we will discuss in the next class. Okay, so that's about the next class thing, what we are going to learn in the next class. So that's all for today. Have a nice day, and we'll meet in the next session. Bye guys.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.